Welcome to the Fibs Offer Creation class presented by War Room. This is a pretty interesting thing. I kind of decided I wanted to do this. I told Roland I wanted to do it, and you know, sometimes after you commit to things, then you freak out because it's such a big undertaking. But it's been good for me. I know Nate's over here going, getting rid of copywriters, great idea. There are some professional copywriters in the room. I know there are a lot of people that have written amazing copy in the past in the room. So this system is a little bit different. If you don't know me, I was a founding partner, digital marketer, War Room Mastermind, Traffic Conversion Summit, Rival Brands, Platter, Print and Fill, wholesale distributor. I have no life. I was born before there were color photos. That's me as a little boy. Isn't that cute? My brother was in the military, so I felt like I had to do that. We were cash challenged growing up as a child. That's the house that I grew up most of my time in, my grandmother's house. My mom was a waitress and eventually a nurse's aide and then eventually a riverboat cook. My grandmother raised me pretty much most of my life. Like most kids in the South, I was a pretty cool kid, as you can tell. I was very sexy on the beach. My mom made me wear that freaking thing every time we went to the lake. I feel like the biggest asshole. I still have a complex about that. But then in high school, I got really cool. You like that? That's my senior picture. Can you believe that? Yeah, nice, eh? This was the best house that we ever lived in. It had wheels under it when I was a little bit older. And so, yeah, I come from, I guess, I used to say humble beginnings. And this is the part where I'm supposed to tell you about now, my home life, my wife, kids, family, pets, but we'll skip all that for a second. Actually, that's my wife. I'm married to a Miss USA candidate. Those are my kids. I got great looking kids. I don't know how. I'm getting a little bit older. I get to hang out with people like Kevin and these guys on Shark Tank all the time, and get to fly private planes and shit like that with Roland, and I want to get this car. It's my next step thing. I already got that one. So I got a pretty cool life. I moved up to a quadruple wide. I live in a really beautiful home in Henderson, Nevada, about 20 minutes from here right now, 8,000 feet. Super duper cool. I get to drive the car of my choice, this 700 horsepower Cadillac I call the Redneck Rocket. My motorcycles and toys, and get to go on cruises with Roland all over the world. And this cruise ship we went on, pretty crazy, has a replica of Central Park built in the middle of it. Those trees are 40 to 50 feet tall. This thing's crazy, and they just built a bigger one, which is nuts. We're gonna go on it in the summer. So this is we get to hang out in these suites on these boats, in those little cramped rooms. Get to travel Roland style. He taught me how to hotel. And like I said, get to fly private. This is my new office. Just picked this up on Friday. So the question is, I didn't say all that shit to brag about anything. It's really cool that I still surprised a lot of times that I've done as well as I have in life. So how does a high school dropout I dropped out of high school 2 weeks before graduation because I got pissed off at a teacher and made a dean hate me a lot. So how does a guy like me get to live the life that I live? And it really all boils down to absolutely one thing. Offers. I know how to create offers, and other people don't, right? I get to be business partners with guys like Ryan and Roland because I create offers. It ain't because they love me and I'm so good looking, right? I create offers that make money. I'm sure that Roland would still love me if I couldn't create offers that made money. He'd miss me, but he'd still love me, I feel sure. So I created this course, this Offer Creation Mastery, with the purpose of empowering non-copywriters to craft and edit winning offers. And somebody said I should take edit out. I think it was Andrew, actually. But editing is a huge part of copywriting. Anybody that teaches you to be a copywriter without teaching you to edit is doing you a great disservice. Because the most of the effectiveness that happens, at least for me as a copywriter, happens in the edit stage. So the idea is for you guys to be able to walk out of here with a system in your hand that, somebody said earlier, I think it was an analogy about baking an apple pie. This is a recipe for a great apple pie. Is the apple pie you bake with this recipe going to be as great as one a master chef would make with that recipe? Probably not. Is it going to be better than 99% of all the other offers in your market? Probably yes, right? So that's the objective, so that we keep it in check of what we're trying to do, what we're trying to accomplish. So everything in life starts with an offer. This has been made evident to me so much in the last few years. Everything in life starts with an offer, right? Engagement starts with offers. So before we can sell to someone, we have to engage them. Sales, which is what you guys are all here wanting to learn how to. How can I write stuff that's going to make people buy more stuff from me, right? And I'm going to talk to you today about writing long-form copy. And some of you guys are like, well, I'm in e-commerce. I only have this much space on Amazon to sell my stuff, or I sell belly to belly, or I sell on the phone. The truth is, if you can write a long-form presentation to sell whatever it is you're selling, whether you use that presentation or not, it's incredibly useful. If you know how novelists work when they write screenplays or novels, how long, anybody want to guess how long the average screenplay is? Max. Yeah, some of them are 80 pages. But the average screenplay is between 80 and 120 pages, right? So our friend, Jason Matthews, works with me. His wife's a scriptwriter. She writes Luke Cage, if you guys watch Luke Cage on Netflix, right? So each episode's only about 50 or 60 pages of screenplay. And she has these giant reams in her office of loose leaf notebooks that are this thick. What do you think all that is? It's backstory, right? It's backstory on every character, 90% of which will never be used in this script. But it creates the essence of the character, right? If you know that Luke's father was an abusive alcoholic, Luke's only going to act a certain way around people who drink, right? They may never talk about that in the script. Maybe they'll reveal it down the road somewhere, but they may never talk about it. Same is true when you're creating a long-form offer. Create a long-form offer first. Everything else will be very, very, very easy. Relationship starts with offers. Even employees, staffing begins with offers. And pretty much everything else begins with an offer. To give you an example, engagement. A digital marketer, how to craft a customer satisfaction guarantee that builds trust and increases sales. Is that a headline? You bet it is. It's on a blog piece of content, right? We're not charging money for that. Our currency here is engagement. It's eyeballs. So we're using headline and copywriting and offer creation to get people to engage with our content. Sales, obviously. You know, I sell a lot of low-ticket stuff that leads into bigger ticket sales, but get this $25 credit card free. I'm still getting money from them for shipping and handling, but this is an offer that creates sales. Relationships. How does every marriage start? Somebody gets knocked up, right? Is there another way? No, they all begin with an offer, right? Somebody makes an offer, right? And guess what else is included in that offer? A premium. Right? Because that chick knows what the hell she's actually getting into. There's going to be some fat farting guy in a recliner she's dealing with the rest of her life. Better get her a big fucking ring, right? There's a premium involved, definitely. Team building. You know, right now we're rebuilding a team here in Las Vegas and other places. We're building a remote team and a Las Vegas team. And so much of my copywriting is going into the ad creation right now because I'm trying to isolate that exact person I want and attract them into my opportunity. This one's pretty good. Help wanted. Cab drivers wanted. Night and weekends must have good driving and criminal record. It's probably a Vegas ad. And everything else. You know, one of the big things that was pretty awesome in dealing with Roland over the last few years is really learning about M&A deals, how to buy companies, how to sell companies, how to invest in companies, how to get companies to invest in you. Those are 100% driven by offers, right? And guess what? If the other guy's offer is better than yours, guess who loses, right? So if you have the best offer, you win. In every situation like this in life, right? So what's next? So over the next 2 days, here's what you'll learn, I hope, in order, hopefully of importance. I'm going to talk to you guys a lot today about human behavior. We're going to go through that a great deal. So I'm big into sequence, right? When I teach, when I write, no matter what I'm doing, I'm big into sequence. And I'll warn you throughout this process, there is a sequence to what I do. So please don't skip steps, right? So in this particular case, I want to teach you to write offers. I want to teach you to create great offers. You really can't create great offers without a really good understanding of human behavior and what makes people tick. Not necessarily understanding them. I used to call it psychology, but it's not really psychology because I think psychology kind of a bullshit science in my opinion. But behavior's not. Behavior's ruled by a set of rules and laws. People, when presented with certain things, the vast majority of people react a certain way, right? So understanding that will make you a way better offer creator. That's the big part. So we're going to talk about behavior first. Next, we're going to talk about research. Nobody really talks a lot about researching copywriting. I've gotten so many copywriting courses. I've been going through. I've got it at Roland came over my house yesterday. Did you see all those bins sitting around? So I've got in my garage, I don't know, thousands, but at least hundreds of courses on different things because I buy everything. So I got out every course on copywriting that I had, and I've been going back through them so that I could steal, regurgitate, try to come up with some shit to tell you all about. And it was a joke, kidding, but only kind of. But I was going through all of them, and almost every one of them starts with, "All right, let's write a headline." That's crazy. No reasonable copywriter thinks that way, right? My copywriting process is really 4 days. I don't really talk about this, I'll talk about it now. My copywriting process is 4 days. And I think anything can be written in 4 days. And I'm sure some of these guys would disagree with me. They're professional copywriters. They tell me 60 days, 30 days to write a letter. I'm like, whatever. So I spend 1 day in research. I understand behavior very, very, very well now after writing somewhere between 400 and 700 sales letters. I really understand. I feel like I understand behavior. But I spend a full day in research, 8 full hours at least of research. I like to take a break in between and digest that research, right, for a day. But if I don't have to, if I don't have it, I don't have to have it. I spend a day researching. I spend a day writing headlines and framing the offer. I spend a day writing the offer, filling in the blanks of the framing. So in other words, I'll write the headline and all my subheadlines, and usually my offer. And then I'll come back the next day and I fill everything in, right? Now this is my system. That means it's going to be your way, right? Then the next day, I edit. And then I'm done. 4 days, right? Some of the pieces I've written have generated, I think the best piece I've ever written generated $6.5 million in a period of about 3 months. A lot of stuff that I've written, well, I guess that's not necessarily true. A lot of stuff, even for the survival market, over time has generated millions and millions of dollars. So 4 days, right? My sister owns a business. I talk about it every now and I never tell anybody what it is because she'd freak out. But my sister owns a business. She had a hard time, was broke, didn't have a job. And I took a voice recorder into the bathtub one day because I like taking baths. I don't shower. I like soaping up. The glistening water dripping off my supple skin. You like it? Now, but in 45 minutes, I wrote her a sales letter for a product. I didn't realize until I talked to her yesterday, 14 years ago. She makes about $150,000 to $200,000 a year. She's never touched the sales letter. Not one word of it in 14 years, right? So offers are incredible. So I'll frame the offer. So we're going to talk about research. We're going to talk framing. We're going to talk about headlines, right? I think most copywriters, I don't know if you've written a lot of copy or not, for those, who in the room is a professional copywriter? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 in the room. I'm sorry in advance. This is not really for you. It is though. It's pretty good. I think you'll like it. But this is more built for people who haven't written copy. But for me, I like going through stuff like this because it reminds me of all the shit I'm not doing, right? Who's written an offer before themselves that made money? So a lot of you guys, probably close to half of you, cool. And who's never written an offer before ever? Okay. So the hardest part for most copywriters I find are people that aren't professional copywriters, and even some that say that they are, is headline creation, right? So I really want to spend a lot of time on headlines because they are 80 cents on the dollar of what you're spending, right? We're going to talk about storytelling, which I think is a really big part of any good sales letter. Even a product development or brand development, you got to have a story behind your brand, right? We're going to talk about benefits, how to make offers, how to set aside risk, how to inject scarcity, and how to get people to take action, right? That's it. And then finally, we're going to talk about power editing. Right? Everybody good with that?